Hi, Lee, what's wrong? No, I haven't forgotten about transferring your allowance. I'll do it later. Very busy right now. I've got to interview a murderer. Bye. Prisoner delivered into interview room number 9. Okay, thank you. I'll go straight away.
Hi, nice to see you. Go away.
I'm here to help you.
If you're wondering why it's so quiet in here, I just kicked the wall speaker to death.
Are you often violent?
No, only to machines that yak yak yak.
You're Mr. Albert Brock, who calls himself the murderer?
I am. Please, before we start, could I borrow your phone? Thank you.
Hey, that's my phone!
There, that's better.
You're running up quite a damage bill.
I don't care. As the old song goes, I don't care what happens to me.
Shall we start?
First victim was my home phone. Murder most foul. I shoved it into the kitchen incinerator. Then I shot the televisor set, fired 6 shots straight into the screen. It made an incredible sound, like a crashing chandelier. Threw my laptop downstairs, dropped all my other devices into my garden shredder.
Nice imagery, the chandelier, I mean.
Oh, thank you. I always dreamt of being a writer.
Suppose you begin by telling me when did you start to hate the telephone?
It frightened me as a child. Uncle of mine called it the ghost machine. Voices without bodies. Scared the living hell out of me. Later in life I was never comfortable. Seemed to me a phone was an impersonal instrument. If it felt like it let your personality go through its wires. If it didn't want to, it just drained your personality away until what slipped through at the other end was some cold fish of a voice. All steel, copper, plastic. No warmth, no reality. It's easy to say the wrong thing on telephones. The telephone changes your meaning on you. First thing you know, you've made an enemy. But then, of course, the telephone's such a convenient thing. It just sits there and demands you call someone who doesn't want to be called. Friends were always calling me. Hell, I hadn't got any time of my own. When it wasn't the telephone, it was the television and the computer. When it wasn't the television and the computer, it was the motion picture holographs beamed into your home with commercials on low-flying cumulus clouds. It doesn't rain anymore, it rains soap suds. When it wasn't high-fly clothed adverts, it was music by Motzek in every restaurant. Music and commercials on the transport I rode to work. When it wasn't music, it was inter-office communications, emails, holograph messages, and my horror chamber of a personal phone communication device on which my friends and my wife sent a message or a photograph or a call or a video every 5 minutes. What is there about such conveniences that make them so temptingly convenient? The average man thinks, here I am, time on my hands, and here in my pocket is my phone. So why not just buzz up old Joe, hey? Hello, hello. Look, I love my friends, my wife, humanity very much. But when 1 minute my wife calls to say, where are you now, dear? And a friend calls and says, got the best joke to tell you. Seems there was a fella, and a stranger calls and cries out, this is the Find a Facts poll. Well,
how did you feel as the week went on?
The fuse lit. On the edge of a cliff. Then I did what I did at the office. I poured a cup of water into the building's communications centre.
And the system shorted?
Beautifully. It was like November the 5th. My God! Everybody was lost. No electronic communication. Everyone had to look up and speak to each other.
You felt better, eh?
Fine. Then I got the idea of stamping on my own phone outside the pavement. I'd just been called by someone asking me if I'd been in an accident recently when I kicked the living daylights out of it.
Felt even better, eh?
It grew on me. Why didn't I start a solitary revolution? Deliver man from certain conveniences. Convenient for who, I thought? Convenient for friends? Hey, Albert, I'm in the locker room at the golf club. Just made a hole in one. Thought you'd like to know. It's a beautiful day, Albert. A beautiful day. Convenient for my office. So when I'm in the field with my radio communicator, there's no moment when I'm not in touch. There's a slimy phrase. Touch hell. Gripped, pawed rather, mauled and massaged and pounded by 7G voices. You can't leave your car without checking in. Have stopped to visit petrol station. OK, Brock, step on it. Brock, what took you so long? Sorry, sir. Watch it next time, Brock. Yes, sir. Do you know what I did, Doctor? I bought a quart of French chocolate ice cream and I spooned it into the car transmitter. And I drowned my company phone in it.
Why French chocolate ice cream?
Oh, I don't know. I like the flavour, I guess, and, well, it was a hot day.
What happened next?
Silence happened next. God, it was beautiful. That phone cackling all day. Brock, go here. Brock, go there. Brock, check in. Brock, check out. OK, Brock, our lunch. Lunch hour over. Brock. Well, that silence was like putting ice cream in my ears.
You seem to like ice cream a lot.
I just rode around feeling of the silence. It's a big bolt of the nicest, softest flannel ever made. Silence. A whole hour of it. I just sat in my car, smiling, feeling of that flannel with my ears. I felt drunk with freedom.
Go on.
Then I got the idea of the portable mobile phone blocker, a diathermy machine. I got one from a dubious source. Took it on the bus going home that night. There sat all the tired commuters with their wrist telephones talking to their wives saying, now I'm at Church Street, now I'm at Grove Road, here I am at Blake Hall, now turning into Nixon's Lane. One husband cursing, what do you mean you're at Sisters? Get home and get dinner started, I'm at Station Road. And the transit system radio playing Tales from the Vienna Woods, a canary singing words about a first-rate wheat cereal. Then I switched on my diathermy machine. Static. Interference. All wives cut off from husbands grousing about a hard day at the office. All husbands cut off from wives who had just seen their children break a window. The Vienna Woods chopped down, the canary mangled. Silence. A terrible, unexpected silence. The bus inhabitants, faced with having to converse with each other, panic. Sheer animal panic.
The police seized you?
The bus had to stop. After all, the music was being scrambled. Husbands and wives were out of touch with reality. Pandemonium, riot and chaos. Squirrels chattering in cages. A trouble unit arrived, triangulated on me instantly, had me reprimanded, fined and home, minus my blocking diathermy machine in jig time.
Mr. Brock, may I suggest that so far your whole pattern here is not very practical. If you didn't like transit radios or office radios or car business radios, why didn't you join a fraternity of radio haters, start petitions, get legal and constitutional rulings? After all, this is a democracy.
Yeah, and I am that thing best called a minority. I did join fraternities, picket, pass petitions, take it to court. Year after year I protested. Everyone laughed. Everyone else loved bus radios and commercials. I was out of step.
Then you should have taken it like a good soldier, don't you think? The majority rules.
But they went too far. If a little music and keeping touch was charming, they figured a whole lot would be 10 times as charming. I went wild. I got home to find my wife hysterical. Why? Because she had been completely out of touch with me for half a day. Remember, I did a dance on my own phone earlier. Well, that night I laid plans to murder my house.
Is that how you want me to write it down?
Yeah, that's semantically accurate. Kill it dead. It's one of those talking, singing, humming, weather reporting, poetry reading, novel reciting, jingle jangling, rockabye crooning when you go to bed houses. A house that screams opera to you in the shower, teaches you Spanish in your sleep. One of those blathering caves where all kinds of electronic oracles make you feel a trifle larger than a thimble. With stoves that say, I'm apricot pie and I'm done, or I'm prime roast beef, so base me, and other nursery gibberish like that. With beds that rock you to sleep and shake you awake. A house that barely tolerates humans. A front door that barks, "You've mud on your feet, sir!" And an electronic vacuum hound that snuffles around you from room to room, inhaling every fingernail or ash you drop.
Quietly.
Well, remember that Gilbert and Sullivan song? I've got it on my list and it never will be missed. All night I listed the grievances. Next morning, early, I bought a pistol. I purposely muddied my feet. I stood at our front door. The front door shrilled, "Dirty feet, muddy feet, wipe your feet, please be neat," and I shot the damn thing in the keyhole. I ran to the kitchen where the stove was just whining, "Turn me over," in the middle of a mechanical omelette, and I did the stone to death. Ho ho! How it sizzled and screamed, "I'm shorted!" Then the telephone rang like a spoiled brat, and I shoved it down the incinerator. Oh, I must state here and now, I have nothing whatever against the incinerator. It was an innocent bystander. I feel sorry for it now. A practical device indeed, which never said a word, purred like a sleepy lion most of the time and digested our leftovers. I'll have it restored. Then I went in and shot the televisor, that insidious beast, that Medusa which freezes 1 billion people to stone every night, staring fixedly, that siren which called and sang and promised so much and gave, after all, so little. But myself, always going back, hoping and waiting until... bang! Like a headless turkey gobbling, my wife whooped out the front door. The police came. Here I am.
And did you realise in committing these crimes that the wrist radio, the transmitter, the phone, the bus radio, the office intercoms, all were rented or were someone else's property?
I'd do it again, so help me God. Oh, this is only the beginning. I'm the vanguard of a small public which is tired of noise, of being taken advantage of and pushed around and yelled at. Every moment music. Every moment in touch with some voice somewhere. Do this, do that, quick, quick, now here, now there. You'll see. The revolt begins. My name will go down in history. Oh, it'll take time, of course. It was all so enchanting at first. The very idea of these things, the practical uses, was wonderful. They were almost toys to be played with. But the people got too involved, went too far, got wrapped up in a pattern of social behaviour and couldn't get out, couldn't admit they were in even. So they rationalised their nerves as something else. Our modern age, they said. Conditions, they said. High-strung, they said. But mark my words, the seed has been sown. I got worldwide coverage on TV, radio, films. There's an irony for you. That was 5 days ago. 1 billion people know about me. Check your financial columns. Any day now, maybe today. Watch for a sudden spurt. A rise in sales for French chocolate ice cream.
I see.
Can I go back now to my nice private cell where I can be alone and quiet for 6 months?
Yes.
Don't worry about me. I'm going to sit around for a long time, stuffing that nice soft bolt of material in both ears.
Well, enjoy.
Cheers.
Yes. Goodbye. Hello, yes, just finished with Mr. Brock. Seems convivial. Refuses to accept the simplest of realities of his environment and work with them. My prognosis is the condition is indefinite. I left him enjoying a piece of invisible material.